Today we're going to create our own token. It's going to adhere to the ERC20 standard on the Ethereum blockchain. So let's unpack real quick what all of that means. A token on the Ethereum blockchain is not really its own cryptocurrency. All it is a smart contract that holds a ledger of how many tokens each address has. It runs completely on the Ethereum network, on the Ethereum blockchain. So to get familiar with smart contracts and how they work, check out my playlist that I'll link to here. If you're even somewhat familiar with creating Ethereum smart contracts in Solidity, creating a token will be pretty easy for you. It's a whole lot of copying and pasting. So earlier I mentioned that this will adhere to the ERC20 token standard. An ERC standard simply means that the token we're creating will have certain characteristics that the standard specifies. ERC20 is the 20th standard that has been specified in Ethereum. So it exists so that things like wallets and stuff like that will interact with our token will know what to expect in the smart contract. So let's go ahead and get started. To do this, we're going to go ahead and use our trusty Mist browser. I've got a couple other videos on this channel that I'll link to that kind of give you an introduction to creating smart contracts using Solidity in the Remix IDE that's packaged in with the Mist browser. So there's some other intro videos that are good for that. So go ahead and load Mist. So you'll notice I'm actually going to be doing this on the Rinkeby test network. A couple of my other videos also go into test networks and what those are. The process would be exactly the same if we were doing it on the real live network, but just so that I don't have to spend any real money, even if it is just pennies, I'm going to do this on the test network for demonstration purposes. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open the Remix IDE. So like I said earlier, this is going to be just simply copying and pasting. The ERC20 standard is a set standard, so you can grab the code from that. I'll put it in a paste bin in the description of this video, but the ERC20 code can be found in a bunch of different places on the internet, even on Ethereum's main site. Just Google for the ERC20 standard and you'll be able to find the copy and paste stuff. I'm just going to paste in that code. Let's walk through this a little bit. These are the some of the functions that your token will need to support. So there's a function that's expected that will return the total supply, meaning the total number of tokens that exist. There's a function to get the balance of a specific address. Balance meaning the number of tokens of this token that they have. There's a function to transfer tokens from one address to another. And then there's a few other here that aren't really used all that frequently. So this contract is defining what a token is. Then it's expanding on that and creating this standard token contract, which inherits from this original token contract, and it's just fleshing out these functions. So it's saying what to do when you transfer from one address to another. It's, when you want to get the balance of a specific address, things like that. Again, all of this code is there for copying and pasting. You don't have to understand everything that's going on. I highly encourage you to go through this and try to figure it all out yourself. It's pretty straightforward and it's pretty well written Solidity code, so it'll be a good it will be good to go through it and see what well written Solidity code looks like. And then inheriting from standard token is the ERC20 token, which adds a few specific things that the ERC20 standard specifies. And here's where you got to do your customization. So we will be, or you, or in this case me, will be the original sender, the person deploying this contract. So basically this is saying, how many of the initial tokens created will I have? We'll want to have all of them at the beginning so we can send them out. We're just going to make 10 million tokens, and that's totally arbitrary. That's up to you. There's a whole lot of schools of thought on situations where it's good to have a lot of tokens or few tokens. I'll leave that up to the economics majors to determine those things. There's entire communities online you can find that will be arguing about that stuff all day long. But just for the purposes of example, we're just going to make 10 million tokens. So the name of your token goes here. I'm just doing something dumb, Brian coin. You can do whatever you want there. The number of decimals, I'm just going to keep it to 0, but you can go up to, I believe it's 18 decimal places for your token if you want. Symbol, so that's going to show up in a lot of places. Probably the most frequent place people see symbols is on exchanges. They're typically 3 characters long. You see 4 every once in a while, but you probably want to keep it under 4 characters. I'm just going to say Bri. It's what my mother called me when I was a child. So, and that's it. I mean, that's all the customization needed for an Ethereum ERC20 token. So let's go ahead and deploy this onto the blockchain and see if we can actually use it. So first, we want to go ahead and compile it. You may have had auto-compile turned on. That's the default when you open Mist. So it raised some warnings. Let's go ahead and look through these. I don't think there's anything show-stopping here in these warnings. It doesn't look like it. So if there are any errors, we would have to address those, but warnings, it's all right. So now we're going to want to go ahead and deploy it to the blockchain, the testnet we're on. So you'll notice it gives you an option. There's actually 3 distinct contracts in this Solidity file, but each one is building on the last one. So you want to deploy the final result, which is ERC20 token. So let's go ahead and create. So as usual, it costs gas to deploy a contract to the blockchain. Let's go ahead and send in this transaction. So our contract, our token has been deployed. What we want to do is get the address that it's at. So you'll see it says ERC20 token at the address. We can just click this symbol here and it'll copy it to the clipboard for us. Now let's go back to our wallet in the Mist browser. Now what we want to do to see if it's out there and exists is click on our Contracts tab. And let's watch a token. Put in the token contract address, and boom, pulls in all the information that we put in that contract. Brian coin, bride, decimal places. Okay. And there's my 10 million Brian coin. It's really that simple to create a token. So anybody out there that made it to the end of this video, put in your Ethereum address on the Rinkeby test network, and I will go ahead and send you some Brian coin. And I'll post the address to watch the token. And yeah, let's pass this around, and when you create your own token, let me know where it's at, and maybe you can send some to me in exchange. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know if you do anything cool with this. Let me know if you run into any problems. Put those in the comments so other people that may have the same problem, we can all solve it together. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.